Hi guys, GameGirl894 here and welcome back to the visual novel of My Lady. I remember doing this first part quite a while back of this game and I was asking for your opinion about where you guys want me to continue on with this series, and I remember getting feedback saying about how you guys like my voice acting for it with the British accent that I give for the main character of it being really posh and everything. So yeah, actually really wanting to continue on with this series because I really enjoyed it last time due to the forbidden love between your character and the butler. So yeah, let's continue on the series and see what else happens. I really do hope they get together because they're so cute. But luckily I'll only be doing voice acting obviously for the main character because every other character has voice acting to them, so that's grand. Let's see. So last time it was just after the maid catches you and your character and the butler guy on top of each other by mistake, and she then begins to laugh and then they begin to talk about other things. So yep, they talking about a letter, I think. So I think I've already talked about mother, so I'll talk, or have I talked about the mother? I'll talk about the mother just to see. Well, my mother's coming home today.
So I heard! The kitchen hands are going crazy at the news!
They already know?
Of course! Abby practically memorizes your mother's schedules, that strange kitchen woman.
That is true.
Anything else?
Talk about suitor. I have a new suitor.
Ooh, a new suitor! What's his name? What's his name?
Calm down. Jeez. Isaac Newport.
Newport? As in Newport Law Affairs?
You've heard of Newport?
You're damn right I have. They're a new lawyer family coming up from out of nowhere. Only the peasantry like me know about them, though. They specialise in helping poor families with houses and such.
Is that so? That was very interesting. The Newport family was a new family to look forward to gossip about at parties and events. Hopefully there would be enough talk about them to ignore me. I wasn't a fan of the parties the rich families around me hosted.
Anything else?
I received the strangest letter today.
Oh, what's up, ma'am?
It's like a riddle of some sort. The lady exits the pumpkin carriage.
A pumpkin carriage? Like in that Cinderella fairy tale?
Yes, Sophie, exactly like that Cinderella fairy tale. I assume so. It then says, Queen to Bishop.
First fairy tales, now chess? What is this loony thinking?
I shook my head, unsure of how to answer. I didn't know myself. The letter was indeed odd, and if Sophie and Alexander couldn't figure it out, there was no way I was going to.
But that doesn't make a lick of sense if you ask me. Are you sure it wasn't the wrong address?
I took out the envelope to check once again. It didn't magically change, and it was still addressed to me. No, it was indeed addressed to me.
That's very strange, ma'am. Anything else?
No, that's all. I sighed and enjoyed my snack. The tea was almost perfect and the sandwiches were very sweet, but I appreciated Sophie's work. Despite it being a menial task, she did it with love.
So, ma'am, what are you going to wear for your mother when she arrives?
I sat in silence for a moment, contemplating on what to wear. I had many outfits, but I wasn't about to put on a fashion display for my mother. Stopping my snack, I looked to Sophie and thought. What dresses do you suggest?
Well, you could always wear the white one your mother bought from France. Then there's also the red one from Spain. That one looks good on you.
Ooh, the red one. I like the sound of that. I love red. Red is one of my favorite colors. Red or white? It was a simple choice, but I almost felt like laughing at the choice itself. Something about it was hilarious to me, and I couldn't put my finger on why. I finally made up my mind and said,
Ooh,
red dress.
Very fun, ma'am. Won't your mother disapprove, though? She hates it when you wear red.
That bitch can go fuck herself then, because I love red. Sophie nodded and got out my red dress from the closet.
As long as you're sure, ma'am.
Yes, I'm sure.
Let's get you cleaned up, ma'am. Then we'll get this dress on you.
Getting into dresses was a tiring process. First I had to clean using an unnecessarily large bath to wash in. Then I had to be dried, which required both me and Sophie to do it in a reasonable amount of time. After that, I had to powder and put on my underclothes, which included a corset. Sophie! You're trying to kill me!
Just a little more, Mum. Your mother would kill us both if we don't do this right.
Corsets were a pain. Then we finally got to put the dress on. It was easy to slip on, and it only took Sophie a minute to tie it up to fit me perfectly. See, it's gorgeous! I stood in front of my large vanity mirror, checking out my dress. I smiled at my choice. It was a lovely dress with satin and ruffles. I felt incredibly attractive in it, feeling the desire to flirt and mingle run through my thoughts. Sophie quickly found a red rose and tied it into my hair.
You look so pretty, ma'am. Men would fall to their knees for you.
Thank you, Sophie. You're the best. Sophie smiled and bowed to me graciously. I turned back to the mirror and stared at myself a little longer, wondering what Alexander would think of it. It was indeed eye-catching, and it made me feel incredible. The sound of horses made me quickly look away from the mirror to look at my window. I rushed over and looked to see a large carriage stopping in front of the house.
Who is that? I don't recognize the carriage.
I don't either. I stared at the carriage a while longer, unable to tear my eyes away. Who was visiting us, and a day of all days? The door of the carriage opened, and out stepped a handsome man, looking to be around my age. He was dressed in casual suit with brushed hair and an anxious smile. As per his protocol, Alexander stepped out of his mansion and greeted him. They spoke to each other briefly before Alexander escorted him inside. What did this man want?
Ma'am, could it be the Newport son who sent you that letter?
Huh? Isaac? Why would it be him? Why would he even come?
He's come to court you! Oh my, this is exciting!
I quickly looked back to my carriage, trying to piece that logic together. He did wish to meet with me, but why come to my home? Was he that desperate? I sighed and excited in my room with Sophie close behind. I felt the obligation to greet him creep into my gut, so I followed it all the way to the main lobby. I stepped into the lobby to see the man and Alexander conversing to one another. At the sound of my footsteps, however, they stopped and looked at me.
Mr. Newport, may I introduce the current lady of the house, Miss Beaumont.
As I was introduced, I climbed down the steps of the grand staircase. I reached the bottom and walked over to where the two men were awaiting me, with Sophie 2 steps behind me.
Oh, wow. Allow me to say you look absolutely stunning, Miss Beaumont.
I don't like your voice. I prefer his voice. His voice is nicer. Thank you, Mr. Newport. I presume according to my butler.
Yes, Isaac Newport. It's a pleasure to finally meet you at last.
He held out a hand, wanting me to place mine in it. Did I want to? My mother wasn't around, so I didn't necessarily have to be polite to that extent. Thank you. Isaac stared at for a second before smiling gently and pulling his hand away from me politely. Might I ask why you're here?
Oh, well, I was in town and I was passing by your estate, so I decided to come by and possibly meet you. Obviously, it was a good choice.
I see. Well, I'm afraid I usually deal with scheduled meetings, so I'm not sure that I can entertain you.
Oh, no, I wasn't insinuating anything of the sort. I merely wished to stop by and meet you, that's all.
Ah, I understand. Well, since you did stop by, allow me to offer you some tea. I looked back over my shoulder at Sophie, who quickly nodded and stepped forward ahead of me toward Isaac.
Would you follow me to the drawing room, please? I'll prepare some tea and bring it as soon as it's ready.
Thank you so much.
I bit my tongue. Sophie was definitely a great actress around guests. Sophie and Isaac walked away towards the drawing room, leaving Alexander and me alone. I let out a sigh.
Is something troubling you, my lady?
Yes, I want to be with you because you're the hotter man. And that other guy, I don't like his voice. No, I'm just surprised, so. Alexander nodded, standing at the ready for any instruction I had. I looked in the direction of the drawing room and bit my lip. I didn't want to sit in there with him, especially if my mother was coming home today. Who knows what she would think? Just my luck, however. I turned my head at the front door, hearing another set of horses. Alexander, please check who has arrived.
Yes, my lady.
Alexander quickly walked over and opened the door to see outside.
Your mother has returned.
Shit! Right. Okay. Time to prepare for the bitch. I felt my heart stop. Was my luck just terrible today? Alexander quickly exited the front doors to assist my mother out of her carriage. I stood knowing that my mother would want me to be at the lobby waiting for her. I felt frozen, unsure of how to explain the second carriage to my mother, who was very quickly on her way inside. It was a suitor, but I didn't want her to get the wrong idea. She looks like a bitch. At last, my mother stepped into the lobby, with Alexander carrying her bags almost effortlessly behind her.
Ah, there you are. Punctual as expected.
I hate your guts. My mother quickly stepped up to me and I looked at me up and down. I waited to see how she would respond. I wore red instead of white, but I was 17, almost 18. I was old enough to make my own decisions.
Why are you wearing the red dress?
Because fuck you, bitch, I love red. I grimaced. I wanted to wear a red dress, Mother.
I should have you march back to your room and change. However, I don't have the patience to argue with you about this.
I sighed silently. I was never going to please her.
Now, can you explain to me why there's another carriage in the front?
I had to be calm. She had to understand that I was not interested in the suitor, nor did I invite him. Isaac Newport wanted to visit today, Mother. He was in town and decided to stop by.
And where is he?
In the drawing room, Mother.
I have no time for guests. I have much to do, and I won't have you entertaining guests without me.
My mother turned her head to Alexander.
Escort him out.
Yes, madam.
Alexander gently placed my mother's luggage down, away from the door, and quickly left for the drawing room.
Now, have you been keeping up with your studies?
Yes, Mother.
Have you been practicing the piano?
Yes, Mother.
Perfecting your handwriting?
Yes, Mother.
Good. Then we can discuss.
As she was about to finish her statement, Isaac and Alexander entered the lobby, walking towards the exit. Isaac stopped and bowed to my mother.
Oh, hello, Lady Beaumont. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Don't talk to her, Isaac. She's a bitch.
It is a pleasure to meet you too, Mr. Newport. I'm afraid we have some business to attend to, so we cannot entertain you today. Feel free to stop by tomorrow.
I understand perfectly, ma'am. Please, have a good day.
Isaac bowed to my mother before smiling at me.
And a good day to you too, Miss Beaumont.
With that, he left and exited the mansion, with Alexander closing the door for him.
Mr. Newport, you say?
Yes, Mother.
He looked to be your age. Was he a suitor?
I just said that! You stupid... Ugh. I couldn't lie to her. She knew how to see through lies. My mother stared at me in thought before walking past me towards the drawing room. I sighed and followed suit. We entered the drawing room where Sophie was cleaning the tea and Isaac was previously having.
Leave the tea. Bring new cups.
Yes, madame.
Sophie quickly left the room with the used cup Isaac had, leaving me and my mother alone. My mother sat down, waiting for me to sit across from her in the empty seat. I quickly obeyed her silent command to do so, looking to her and sitting up as properly as I could.
How old are you now?
17, Mother.
17 and still unmarried. What am I to do with you?
Who the fuck would even want to marry you? I bit my tongue. I knew better than to speak back to my mother when she talked like that. She had been hoping one day I would marry, but it was becoming futile.
Anyways, I will be staying here for a couple of days to deal with some in-town business. I expect you to entertain Mr. Newport properly should he return. This goes for any suitor, understand?
Yes, Mother.
The dinner schedules will be upheld as I am here. If you are not at dinner during the scheduled time, you will not eat. Understand?
Slut. Oh, sorry, what? Yes, Mother.
Good.
My mother was strict, but for a good reason. She wanted me to be a perfect lady, suitable for marriage and upholding a family. If I was a toe out of line, I would be lectured until I regretted ever disobeying. We drank tea, barely speaking to each other, before I was dismissed back to my room. I quickly bowed and left Sophie, followed behind 2 steps away from me. Alright guys, I'm going to end this episode here, because I don't want this to carry on for too long. Now, let's just see. I need to go back all the way to here. So I'll save here. And there we go. Okay guys, I'm is said, I'm going to end this video here because I don't want it to go on for too long, but wow, this video is getting really, really interesting, as is this game. I despise her with a passion. I hope that someone runs over her with a horse and a carriage, because she is a bitch. She's a real bitch. And I really want her and Alexander to get together. Isaac isn't a bad person, I'm sure, but I just don't like his voice. I would prefer Alexander a lot. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please feel free to leave a like if you enjoy the video, and feel free to comment if you would like to see me continue on with this series. I'm more than likely I'm going to continue on with the series to the end because I am really enjoying it and I do want to see what happens. So thank you guys again, and I will see you in the next video. Ta-ra everyone. Bye.